Mark Megan's Weekly Roast. Proudly supported by Cialis for Men. Are you one of nearly 3 in 10 men experiencing erectile dysfunction? Why not have a quick, discreet chat with your pharmacist about Cialis for Men 10mg film-coated tablets, which contains tadalafil. Now available without prescription in pharmacies nationwide. Find out more at cialisformen.ie. To be taken at least 30 minutes prior to anticipated sexual activity. Always read the label. GoLoud.
Welcome back to the Weekly Roast. How's it going, guys? How the hell are you? How are your hearts? And of course, how are your heads? Guys, Mark Megan's Weekly Roast is proudly brought to you by Cialis for Men, helping you get and keep an erection whenever you need it. I am so happy to be working with a brand that will help men, not just with their erections, but in realising that there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Nearly 3 in 10 males have experienced ED, but only 1 in 4 are comfortable discussing it. Let's change that. Cialis for Men is now available without prescription from pharmacies nationwide. All it takes is a quick chat with your pharmacist and you're off to the races. To be taken at least 30 minutes prior to anticipated sexual activity, contains tadalafil. Always read the label. Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Weekly Roast. How the hell are you? I'm here with my man, Mystery Mick. How are we, Michael?
I'm very well, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting ready to go on holidays. So
lovely, lovely. Where are you heading?
I'm going. France, as always. I love France so much. On y va, as they say.
On y va.
It's great to be with you guys. I just want to say thanks so much to everyone for the support with the show over the last few weeks. The podcast numbers continue to soar, and we are truly very grateful. It's been a really busy period at the moment, just trying to get the live show finished. I've finished mostly writing it, but there's a couple of tweaks I want to make. I'm really looking forward to it. If any of you were at my live shows 2 years ago or 3 years ago, this is going to be very different because I've got this bizarre relationship with live performance and I've never really found a way of doing it that actually interests or excites me, whereas this is the way. And if this works, my God, it'll be completely transformative because I'll be able to roll it out and go to the likes of Cork, hopefully, or London, or New York City, or Galway. Not that I have any preference in that, but let me know. If you want me to perform in your city, let me know where it is. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm obviously terrified. The crippling, lifelong fear of everything is coming up again. But we will be fine. We will prevail. Guys, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for tuning in. It's the roast of first kisses. We got lots of interesting, colourful contributions yesterday. Do you remember your first kiss?
I do. Regrettably.
Regrettably?
Oh, yeah. Something I still, even when I think about it, I flinch.
Speak for yourself. Okay, go on. Give us it. What age are you?
7.
7?
7.
Okay, we're going to have to stop the pod and get Tulsa in. Show us on the map. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 7.
Sorry?
7. Yeah, I had a group of older friends, when, the younger kids are kind of dared and told to do stuff and, we were, whatever.
This is, by the way, if there was ever an example of just the dichotomy of Irish youth, you likely still believed in Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah, a big time.
So you're French kissing and you're writing Santa lists. That is just Irish childhood personified.
Yeah, it's far worse.
Oh, gee. Okay, well, this is a family show.
Yeah, no. So we're kind of...
So you're 7 years of age, and when you say you want to be friends with the older guys, they're not at the age where they're wearing leather jackets or, driving motorcycles.
Yeah, no, they've got the corner.
They've got Pokemon cards.
Dice.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
No. We, truth or dare, whatever, the scenario was, we were...
Location, Dublin?
Shed in best friend's back garden.
Okay.
Yeah, behind the shed. Didn't know what I was doing. Understandably, I hadn't made my communion at that point.
Wait, hold on a second here, though. We'll make your confession here, Chief. Forgive me, Megan, for I have sinned.
Yeah.
give us more context to the like. So you're over in your friends' house, age 7, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking episodes of Blue's Clues, bananas in pajamas.
Yeah.
There's a banana in those bloody pajamas. I'll tell you that much. Go on.
So yeah,
Who's there? Like, give us the scene.
So like, best mate's older brother's like, come on, you have to, like, how haven't you done this yet, you loser? I was like, okay, cool, I'll do whatever.
The older brother, who's probably 9 or something. Yeah. Still wets the bed.
Yeah, exactly. So send her in the shed with another friend of mine.
A female?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just...
Didn't know what I was doing, so like, had a very, very bad first kiss. She went around and told everyone, and for the next 3 years I was called Calgon.
Why
washing machines live better with Calgon.
Oh my God.
Calgon.
Is it not last longer? Just
yeah,
add to trauma.
yeah.
He's misremembered the song lyrics. Insult to injury. Yeah, that's pretty
Calgon.
That is bad.
Calgon.
I mean, mine was
What about yours? Yeah, tell us.
I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Ciara, she's now married with child. Very happy for her. Irish college.
Okay.
Chalk Norma. Ackle. Probably 2002, I suspect.
Okay.
Let me think. It was about 164 days after the towers went down. So, could you imagine just using that as your barometer of time? This weird fucking guy who just measured his internal calendars. Well, there was 9/11, and then when was the Norwegian island? That was July 25th. So. That's so bizarre. Anyway, sorry.
An 8-year-old caring about Tower 7.
I wasn't 8, I was 13 or 12.
Oh, wow.
So I was quite late to the game.
Yeah.
And I was a frigid, and I was going down to Ackle, and I was terrified. And I remember there was a girl there who I was genuinely in love with. And we hit it off. Like the first week we were chatting on the bus. I had bleached blonde hair. All the country people were calling me Q-tip. I was performing raps for them all. It was going great. Like my social life was on the up. It was all coming up Megan. And then I was also sort of loitering around the other end of the Irish college with like the rockers because I knew a lot about music. So I was talking about Slipknot. I thought this is my summer.
Yeah.
Forget brat summer, this is fat summer. This is the year that chubby little 12-year-olds rise to the top. Do you know what I mean? Like this is my Charlie XCX moment. And fell in love with Ciara, and there was whispers that there was going to be a snog at the disco. So obviously I wore more Lynx Africa. So much Lynx Africa to the extent I'd probably get... No. Anyway, went to the disco, and... I was just like terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, even after with all anxiety, whatever, there's no fear like awaiting the sort of knock on the shoulder to say it's time for your first kiss.
Oh.
It's just like I still feel it in my stomach even think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, went over to Ciara. She looked radiant, and I was just like, "So how are you?" And she was like, "Good, yeah." And then I was like, "So how are you?" You know, one of those ones. I just didn't have it. Didn't have the balls. And then she was like, "Do you want to score me?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she just started coming at me and leaned in, and nobody told me that you have to close your eyes. Nobody told me that you have to close your eyes. So she leans in, we start kissing. I'm like hyper focusing on tongue left to right. I'm like a stroke victim recovering. Do you know what I mean? Now, blooded, if you could just... This is the intro.
This is the intro.
You know, if you could just like to the left, to the right, I'm like trying to get, and then because
Looks like you're skiing.
Then I said, like
No, you all don't have this time.
stop to the left. So then I get comfortable and this is by the way, this is at the crux of my downfall in life, and it's going to happen again. It sort of seems to be cyclical. I go through suffering. I manage to crawl my way out of the suffering.
Okay.
Things go okay. Then things go really great, and then I tear it all down.
Okay.
So who knows what the next one's going to be? But I then get comfortable, arms on the bum. I'm scoring. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
And then I go, do you know what make this double great? If I start giving people the finger. So I now have 2 fingers up in the air as people walk by, and they're all just like, what the hell is with this guy? Fucking Richard Nixon, do you know what I mean? This sort of the M&M show in a Blackburn jersey. I was wearing a Blackburn jersey.
Of course you are, yeah.
Yeah, Damien Duff back when he played for Blackburn, because it was the summer after Saipan. And anyway, just there giving people the finger. So I was like, that was unbelievable, nailed it. By the time I got back from the Jacks, I was gone. Broken up with.
Of course you are.
And then for the rest of the week, she called me Gareth Gates and was really mean to me, which broke my heart. So I had no choice but to play Beat the Gigolo at the final disco wherein, and I swear to God, anybody out there, if you were in Achill in that summer of 2002 or 2003, you will remember this. I think I kissed 54 people. Now, I did have 2 on the train on the way back to Euston.
Okay.
Past the Polo in between carriages.
Yeah.
The Polo would come within a foot of my mouth. Gone. Spit it out. Like those videos of the rabies people when they're allergic to water.
Yes.
That was me playing, the final stage of rabies apparently where you can't drink water. Yeah. That was me with the Polos. So 54 people in Achill.
That was the start of SARS by the sounds of things.
That was ground zero for the foot and mouth disease. People couldn't fly out of Shannon International for about 6 years unless you were part of the US Navy.
Oh.
So... Right, Michael. As is part of the new routine with Weekly Roast, the first section is going to be devoted to reading out messages.
Okay.
For those who are shy of sound and cowardice when it comes to contribution via voice. So.
No resentments there.
No resentments whatsoever. Nevertheless, this one came in and I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Hi, Mark and Michael. It's nice that she addressed both of us.
Yeah, I'm loving that.
I would have liked Hi Mark and his sidekick, Michael.
His pig.
Yeah. Hello, Mark and Trough Boy. Trotters out the... Hi, Mark and Michael. It was my 18th birthday in 2010. So how old does that make her? 18th birthday, 2010. 92?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 years younger than me.
Quick maths.
I'm from a small town near Waterford. She says the name, but she says don't share the name. So she's from Ballycristly. No, I'm joking. She's from a small town near Waterford. Mum insisted on getting the room upstairs in our local for my party. I wasn't a very outgoing teen, and there were only about 40 of us in town doing the leaving. Now, she spells Dune, D-U-N-E, so I don't know if that's to suggest that she didn't actually go ahead with the leaving in the end. Maybe she picked up something more tactile. But anyway, I digress. There were about 40 of us doing the leaving. One of the girls in our class took a disliking to me with one of them because her fella, and then says his name, but we'll obviously give a fake name, Paddy O'Toole. So, because her fella, Paddy O'Toole, said to me that he wanted to shift me at our grad party. Word got back to her and she tried to turn the class against me, saying I was dangerous and a shit stirrer. Meanwhile, I had nothing to do with it. Most of them didn't care and were still nice, but on the night of the party, she must have scared them because not a single person showed up. That's horrific.
Oh my God.
Like, before we even continue, that is just devastating. I think there's a few universal feelings in the world that bind us all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And generally speaking, that's via suffering rather than joy. And I think everybody has that. Like, your stomach lurches when you hear of a kid, like an 18-year-old, whatever, at any age, getting all dressed up for a party and nobody coming. Like, that's honestly the saddest.
Stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, it's horrific. Loser? No. I was sitting there with my mum and dad, my younger brother and my mum's friend, oh God, and my granddad. I wanted to die. Mum was launching out texts, seeing who she could get down. That's actually making me, it was mortifying. We even had a karaoke machine ready to go with the random strobe light going around the room. Okay, first turn the strobe light off. Sitting there and every 30 seconds the red light just panning on your granddad's mush. Being like, I'm sure they'll be here in a minute. This is the worst. This is hell.
Just the DJ in the back. Oggy.
The karaoke machine.
Oh, no.
Granddad goes down to the mace in the garage. Remember maces? Do you still have maces?
Oh, you do, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Granddad goes down to the mace in the local garage and gets the lad who works there to come down. He was the year above me and 19. At the time, I thought it was a coincidence. But when he walked into the room, everybody walked out. He started asking me questions about the karaoke and helping himself to some of the platters of food. I said we should have a go of the karaoke, and I still remember thinking it was weird that the song he wanted to do was Aeroplanes by your man B.O.B. Do you remember that? I fucking hated that. If aeroplanes in the night sky and shooting stars, I just really want to wish right now, wish right now, wish. I wish Bob. I still remember thinking it was weird that the song he wanted to do was Airplanes by your man B.O.B. as I thought it was a girl song. All right. Beggars can't be choosers now. Anyway, I turned to put on the machine and next thing your man has lunged at me. I still remember he had sweet chili dip from the food platter on the sides of his mouth from the food platter. We face planted each other for around 15 minutes until eventually my mum knocked on the door and said if we left now, the pub wouldn't charge us for the rental. On the way out, my grandfather shook your man's hand and I'm not certain, but it looked like he pocketed something. Ha.
Surely not.
Sorry, hold on a second here. This now is gone.
What was being pocketed?
I'm assuming arrogant like money.
Oh.
That's the impression that I'm getting.
Go in there now and just
Go in. I mean, if this happens any more than once and Metropol are getting involved, it's all well and good when it's the local lad from Mace, but like when it's a Romanian truck driver who's, you know, at a pit stop between Dublin and Gorey, like this. Oh, fuck. No, hold on. Let's rewind the clock here.
I feel absolutely terrible for her. Like, dreadful.
Let's just forget the granddad stuff for a second, because that's too sordid to even confront.
It might have just been a Werther's original, Mark.
It could have been here.
Have a few mini mints there. Have a few fisherman's friend there.
A few moo-moos.
I'll meet you out the back. Yeah.
Milky chew.
Have a golly bar there. What's your name? You're a fine looking young fella.
Oh, so now the granddad's gay and he's trying to seduce this garage boy.
Oh, I noticed you were going left to right there. I've actually got a chart at home that I used after the fall. Don't mind that. That's just a thing of fire. It's just a bell.
I don't know. No, stop.
Are you that boy they call Calgon?
No, okay, hold on. Bit of grace and decorum.
Yes.
So this girl's having her 18th birthday. Firstly, you've got some toxic rodent in the town. Ego. All the problems in the world. If you look around the corners of your life, dear listener, and assess the problems that have presented themselves in the last few months. Most of them can be at the root, explained by ego. Ego is the source of all our troubles. So anyway, this girl's ego is bruised because her boyfriend, Paddy O'Toole, wants to shift this girl, quiet girl.
Yes.
Grant. She abreacts and sort of tries to create a local mutiny and all the rest. Whatever. Then the girl has her 18th and the upstairs, like, it's so sad. The idea of having the upstairs, you know.
You can see it too, like, just be decrepit. Oh, yeah. Awful.
And those, like, the forgotten platters is just, will we bring the spring roll? No, leave the spring rolls, Mum. Just stop. Maybe that's what that granddad was pocketing. And then your man comes down from the mace. Oh, here for the 18th? Do you know what I mean? Like, more paint stripper than actual strip. Don't even get that. But anyway, he then comes in, everyone sort of shuffles out, and then all of a sudden, like, the Cranberries' Linger just starts playing. What's your name? Do you have any petrol? Fuel? Is that all you can say? Just score me, for God's sake, Finton. Okay, next up, we've got one a little bit closer to home. You ready for this one, Michael?
Let's go.
So we got dropped off. She doesn't even say hi, Mark. So no points for, diplomacy. So we got dropped off by my friend's mum for a few hours in Funderland when we were in first year. It was Stevens's day. It was a big deal as we weren't allowed into town by ourselves. First year, so what, like 13? Okay. Apparently, a big group of Blackrock and Michael's boys were going to be there. And for the Loretto Beaufort girls, that was a big deal. I had never met, and she's put met in quotation marks, because we used to say meet.
Yeah.
Would you meet my friend? Like, meet was our word for kissing and snogging or scoring or meet.
I would have thought you were more of a score, no?
Score, we had once late teens score, but grown up it was, will you meet my friend? Would you meet me? So she goes, I had never, quotation marks, met anybody yet, so was very nervous. We were in the queue for candy floss, and this kid, our age, comes out of the booth by the roller coaster and tells me that I'm standing in sick. I look down and my brand new Abercrombie tracksuit bottoms I had gotten from Santa were dragging in someone else's sick. Morto. As the kid is walking away, one of our girls shouts, will you meet my friend, as a joke? And he turns straight around and comes back. Like a rat up a drain pipe, I'd say. I didn't really have time to think about it. He takes my hand and we walk outside behind 2 fences. And then next thing we're in this weird campsite of trucks. We kiss for a few minutes, and to be fair to him, it wasn't bad. His mouth sort of tasted like BPM, but I was expecting worse for a carnival kid. Okay, he then asks me, do I want to look inside the truck? I said, no, you're grand, I have to get back. He said Dad could get all the channels on a TV and I should come with him to their next place, which was in Yugoslavia or somewhere. Anyway, we walked back and that was that. Met the Rock Boys later and they were like a bunch of girls in comparison. I'd well fucking believe it. I would well believe it that the gang of fucking South Dublin, you know, privileged little pups were somewhat different to a trans-Europe, you know, carnival kid.
Carnies, yeah.
I suspect there is a cultural division there. So,
To say the least, yeah.
to say the least. What do you think?
Ooh. The people who work in travelling carnivals are just, they're...
Let's call a spade a spade. They only called the roller coaster in Funderland the Magic Mouse because they thought it would be too egregious to name it the Heroin Rat. The people that do the roller coasters in Funderland don't look like ex-cons. They look like current cons.
Active cons.
Who have who are actively involved in criminality. Do you know what I mean?
My dad gets all the channels.
Like, it is definitely a dodgy box.
Yeah.
No, I'd put the house on it. I don't know. This is just, that's human trafficking, like.
It is.
Do you fancy coming with us across, by the way, Yugoslavia? Yugoslavia wasn't still Yugoslavia in 2010. Slobodan Milosevic was long gone at those stage, my friend. Kosovo, all of it was over.
The Eastern Bloc was done.
Do you fancy going for a day trip to Chernobyl? Like, do you know what I mean? This is, why is our knowledge of Eastern Europe so fucking archaic? Oh, do you know what I mean? Do you fancy going to East Berlin? Do you know what I mean? Get a couple of walkie-talkies? So, they say that scumbags used to go to Funderland to get their scares by riding roller coasters. South Dublin girls used to go to Funderland to get their scares by riding scumbags. No?
I'm with you.
Bit of hesitancy there by Connor. You can see it in his eyes.
I'm on a roller coaster every week with you, Mark. I don't know where this is going to go. I've been enjoying my media career to this point. This could be the end of it.
Oh, God. Do you remember the Waltzers in Funderland? It was effectively like an Eddie Rockets booth, but ran by a guy who definitely had rickets. Hadn't seen sunlight since 55. You know those guys that just, on the microphone?
Yeah. Scream if you want to go faster.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I vomited on the Waltzers in Funderland. It was an awful, awful day.
And then, by the way, someone's vomited. Should we clean that up? Nah. I've got the idea. What is it? Just pile a bit of sawdust on it. Sorry? Should we not clean up maybe with a bit of bleach just so people don't step in it and then it doesn't smell and the whole place be more sanitary? Nope. Just get some wood chippings, and put them down on top of it. Do you know what I mean? Why? Well, it just means it'll be more gloopy and more, it's the way that I was treating my mental health issues in my 20s. You worried about your career? Yeah. Few points, because then you've got the 2 problems. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Be damaged.
Now, this might just be the culty voice in the room here today, folks.
Love it. A very welcome change from the usual nauseating South Dublin twang.
Yeah, we were just talking about vomit potpourri there a minute ago with wood chippings. But do you remember the ads for Fantasia Bettystown?
What was it again?
Fantasia Bettystown.
Yes, it was the soft tea, wasn't it? The Bettystown.
And it was the most disappointing thing I've ever visited in my life. I was like, wait, this is it? This is like our version of Disneyland? What?
Oh, my God.
It's like a casino with a Waltzers or something.
It was like 3 floors of amusements. It was in the one building, but they were all like on different floors. And there was like.
Do you remember? I remember Dawson's in Bray. That was
a great spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most exciting thing I remember was when the aquatic centre got opened up. That was supposed to be like a huge thing. Instead of lifeguards, they just needed guards. It was fucking lethal. Genuinely, there shouldn't have been signs up about the wave pool. Signs up about the patrons. Genuinely, it was lethal, that place. I got started on by a 43-year-old man because I was looking at his son's Faruka. Do you know what I mean? This place was lawless. It was like an episode of Kin underwater. Love Hate meets Atlantis was the aquatic centre. Honestly, come wearing armbands, left wearing handcuffs. You know what I mean? Guys, I hope you're enjoying the weekly roast. I'm really enjoying the first sections. They're doing a bit of the readout. So, any more, you know what to do. Send them in to me. Also, if you're listening to the show and you're enjoying it, thank you so much. Firstly, it's my favourite time of the week is talking to you, and obviously Mystery Mick and Connor in the background. But I really do appreciate it. So if you're enjoying the show, do us a favour, follow the podcast wherever you're listening to podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, the GoLoud player. Just click follow or subscribe and rate the podcast, because apparently that really helps then the algorithm, blah blah blah. It shows it to new audiences, and we're reaching a lot more people than usual of late. So yeah, thank you so much for all of your help. And on we go. If you're enjoying the show, send me a message on Instagram at Megan Mark. Make sure to follow Michael at Michael O'Malley, and also Connor at Connor Halpin. Is it?
Halpenhoff is what I use for.
Good stuff. So now I'm regret saying that, but Connor Halpenhoff. So good stuff. Let's get into it. Time for the voice notes. Onival, let's go.
Hi, Mark. So I was 11 and our friends had set us up. He asked me out via my friend. And I remember Christy Berg was number one at the time, and Lady in Red, Christy Berg was number one at the time, and I was wearing green, and my friends were singing Lady in Green. We were having the crack. It was all great. And I was really nervous. And I said to my sister beforehand, how do you kiss? How do you French kiss? And she said, just wiggle your tongue around in your mouth. You'll be grand. So we were to meet at the back of the school, and we walked down together, having the chat, very nervous, get to the back of the school, and he leans in for the kiss, and I close my eyes, and I start wiggling my tongue around in my mouth, but with my mouth closed, because my sister never said you had to open your mouth. So he leans in for the kiss, mouth open, wiggling his tongue around, and my eyes are closed, and I open and realise, oh shit, I probably should have opened my mouth the whole time. He just looked at me like, what the fuck was that? And I got dumped immediately and I had to walk the long walk out of the school on my own with everyone laughing at me.
Thoughts?
I'm heartbroken for her.
I'm just trying to imagine her just standing there with the mouth closed, tongue going left and tongue going absolutely 90. Like, that's bad.
Can you imagine though being the other kisser and like there being a distinct lack of action? You just pull back and she's just like going tongue gum to gum.
It's the mouth equivalent of trying to penetrate a mannequin. Do you know what I mean? Why did I say mannequin like that? Damn. Mannequin. Not that I've tried. I feel like every man has woken up with a mannequin in his house. It's the sort of, or I don't know
like
where
a
I'm.
Traffic cone. It's like
the traffic cone.
Banter.
Uni banter. Yeah. We get it. You've gone to uni and you've discovered yourself. You've accessed a real, truer aspect of your character. Brilliant. You've got a traffic cone. The traffic cone, the Bob Marley flag was a real one for me.
Oh, yeah.
Bob Marley and Scarface. Sort of, they counter each other out, surely. One Love and Freedom and versus Miami cocaine drug lords who die in a. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the toxic masculinity starter pack.
That really was. It's just random pictures of Pacino as Scarface. Tony Montana. Can you Tony Montana? That's
Say
a good.
hello to my little friend.
That's a. Just.
Was that your impression of me?
This is me. I want to be a drug dealer. This is me trying to take Al Foran's job. What do Al Pacino, Conor McGregor, oh fuck, lads, this is completely falling apart. Let's just go to the next one.
So where all good romances start, I was texting this fella that I met on the school bus, and we decided we'd shift. But he was going to an all-boys school and I was going to an all-girls school, so we said we'd meet downtown at lunchtime.
Downtown?
Obviously, we were not going to go by ourselves. We were 14. So you couldn't be got dead going anywhere by yourself. So he brought a friend and I brought a friend. And do people say frigid still?
Yeah.
She was frigid. I was frigid. So I was like, you could kiss his friend. And she said she didn't want to, and we were like, grand. So we got down there, asked them if they want to shift. She was like, no. I had my first shift, happy days outside the art centre, very cultured. Went back to school. Anyway, I got called into the principal's office. Our principal was a nun. She was asking, did I know why I was there? Like, literally couldn't think of anything. Then I saw my best friend there crying, and I was like, did someone die or something? And she was like, she tells me you've been bullying her. I was like, pardon? I asked her, did she want to shift a fella just to get it out of the way, you know, get over that first shift. We could do it on the same day, besties. And she ratted me out to the principal, said I was bullying her. Needless to say, that was the end of that friendship. Shift was decent though for a first shift.
Lot to unpack here.
Indeed.
We'll get to the snitch in a second. Her use of the term downtown is interesting, isn't it? Do people say downtown in Ireland?
You wouldn't go alone.
You wouldn't go downtown. Like, what is this? 1950s San Francisco, like Al Capone era. Also, on that song, is it Petula Clark?
When you're alone and life is bringing
You lonely, you can always go downtown when you've got worries and there's something. What's it? When all the worries and the noise in a hurry, you can always go downtown. Listen to the music in the.
Welcome along to Mark Megan's Weekly Roast, the musical episode.
Okay, I will say, if you're ever feeling down, forget fucking downtown, listen to that song. Once the strings kick in and she goes, just listen to the music and the traffic in the city, it's like a surge of dopamine for the soul. So there you go. Anyway, your best mate's a rat. I think the best friend has betrayed her. I understand that she may not wanted the kiss, okay? I totally hear you. I get that. She may not have wanted to do the kiss, and nobody should ever be forced to kiss anybody that they don't want, of course, bottom line. And she got nervous, that's fine. But don't go to the principal for bullying.
I would question, though, if she actually went to the principal for bullying. Like,
oh, wait there. Do you think she could have panicked about getting caught for going downtown? You know what I mean?
But I sometimes feel like when kids go to an adult like that the adult can sensationalise it a bit.
Very true. That is very true, Mr.
I got called out for getting in a fight with someone in school, and I was basically held in like an internment camp for days until they broke me down.
Okay, you grew up in Terran, you're a mate. Just because they filmed a scene from Love Hate down in Mystery Mick's local spar, so he thinks that he's rough around the edges. You were privately educated.
I was honestly like Jerry Conlon in like senior infants being like, okay, I did it.
You got a private circumcision age 23.
17.
Go on.
No, I do feel like the principal probably saw the kids out, or, you know, saw a kid.
Yeah. And then, so what were you doing uptown? Or downtown, right?
Downtown. Surely, like, no child in their right mind who wants any sort of social currency is going to a principal to say, I've been bullied into shifting someone.
Yeah. I think, that would be my thought as well. Connor?
Well, I don't know. My first one was literally somebody just pinned me to a wall and just slobbered all over my mouth, and it was in the middle of doing a play as well. And I had to go on stage, my lips were all chapped, and it was kind of.
And has this drama teacher been? Has the has the drama teacher been let out of prison yet? That was the last chance we saw Mr. O'Donnell. Do you know what I mean? Gary.
That's when Connor started smoking.
Yeah, there were a few articles about it. Gary O'Donnell, the worst performance of Cats. Lame is. Literally. Legit. No. Let's go.
Yeah, so when we were about 9 or 10, I was over in my friend's house after school, and she was really eager to show me the wax figure she was making out of Babybel cheese wax in her room. So went up to her room after school, and she had not only made a tongue to stick on her wall to practice kissing with, but she had actually made a mouth, lips, and a tongue to practice kissing with the Babybel cheese wax. So I have to say, very innovative for a 10-year-old.
This is obviously Neil Buchanan's daughter. Remember Neil Buchanan?
Yeah.
Heart attack.
Heart attack, yeah.
This is an heart attack. This is an heart attack. This is something that has clearly been used to reverse your arse up on. Let's be honest. The Babybel dildo. That's what it was.
That is talent, though, isn't it? To make something like that out of the Babybel wax.
It's completely insane.
How many Babybels did this require?
How much? So she died of gout on her confirmation day. They, the Nace ball. That was actually her. the exact circumference of the Nace ball. Was there like 54 baby bells per lunch in order? That is okay. So so she makes a wax mouth to kiss. I get the practicing kissing.
Yeah.
I've practiced kissing the back of my hand.
Yeah. As recently as last week.
Yeah, like that. I've no shame. I practiced mirrors. And because I wanted to make sure I didn't look cringy whenever I was leaning in, but then you catch eyes with yourself leaning in to kiss a mirror and you're like, you pathetic bastards. You don't stand a chance in life. You know, you feel the metallic glass taste of a mirror and you're like...
Breath just perforating.
The breath just fogging up the windows. You hear the pitter-patter of your dad come up the stairs and go, if only he knew. Like... Pitter patter. Because my dad, of course, ballet.
He was a Looney Tunes villain.
Slight. Oh, fuck. Okay, so yeah, fair play to her. Baby Belle. Unbelievable. Let's go. Oh, guys, I hope you're enjoying the weekly roast. It's great to be here with you discussing first kisses. I feel like I'm a little bit scatterbrained today. I've taken my ADHD medication, but it's one of those days because I have the live show that is due to be finished by the end of today. I'm trying to get prepped for the trip on Thursday. We also have to record the bonus, the roast mortem, and then I also have to film something. I'm a little bit all over the place. So if my mood seems a little bit frenetic, fret not.
Good stuff.
Literally just brain stopped working there.
Nevertheless, Mark, you've actually been really lovely all day. Ooh, is that what you wanted? Pander your ego?
Connor, I said these interventions are to be timely, okay? Not persistent. Nevertheless... You're very welcome to the weekly roast of First Kisses again, guys. It's the final section. We've got a few spicy ones to get through. So hold on to your hats, hold on to your hearts, and wherever you are, whoever you're there with, I hope you're doing okay, and I hope life is manageable for you at the moment. Let's go.
My first shift, I was about 16. Got the bus to trim. Met your man. Was so awkward. I threw a tantrum before I went to meet him. I was so nervous. Anyway, met your man. We met online. Didn't feel like description, pictures matched up. But anyway, just want the shift. And I shifted him, and then he burped in my mouth. And I just kept going. Like a tit. I kept going. Thinking this was normal. Lasted like all of 3 months. Got loads of shifts. Got felt.
Okay. Got loads of shifts and got felt up. Good stuff. I didn't anticipate you licking your chops during that voice note. Good God. Burping in the mouth. Horrific. Horrendous. Howler.
Absolutely awful.
Not to be mistaken, of course, for the time that I was in Avoca Park in Blackrock beside the Smurfit Business School, which was the place du jour for a certain summer whenever we were growing up and people were drinking.
Okay.
I wasn't familiar with drinking. Oh, your buddy made up for lost time afterwards. Brilliant, Susan. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you. Nevertheless, I had a naggin.
Okay.
Fanta Exotic to chase. So I had to get my 3 baby toes chopped off afterwards, given the sugar levels of Fanta Exotic. One gulp and you become a Floridian.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Such is the extent of sugar. Anyway, a naggin of vodka, chased with tears in your eyes, of course, and Fanta Exotic, followed by 6 cans of Druid's cider.
Oh my God.
Which is death. And I was asked to... I started kissing a girl and I got sick in her face.
Oh my God.
That's a true story, by the way. Didn't make the book, weirdly. Didn't include that one in chapter 7.
Shocking.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the filth that you wanted. Got sick in her face. Do you want to know what's worse?
Go on.
Cleaned myself off. We went back at it. She got sick in my face. The two of us like 2 Little Britain characters. Projectile vomiting into each other's faces. We then meandered down towards Blackrock Village, which is a soulless swamp. Then, is, whatever. We make our way into Eddie Rockets, downstairs into the toilets in Eddie Rockets to clean ourselves off, where the kissing continues. I was so drunk. Do you ever get that if you ever drank as a kid and you regret it, right? Which of course I do. I was so dizzy that as I was kissing her, I had to hold on to the sink to stand up because I had the spinny so bad. And I remember thinking, I would love to get caught because I just want to be minded.
Really?
Yeah. So I got sick again. Disgraceful. Oniva? No, actually not Oniva. One of my mates' younger sisters was at Wesley Disco.
Yeah.
She's a real goody two-shoes. She decided to let the hair down. The old holiday braids were taken out when she went to Wesley for the first time. She ended up drinking, okay?
Yeah.
So absolutely paralytic. Gets called into the drunk room, put into a wheelchair. She's so fucking drunk, right? Her mother, a lovely God-fearing woman from Mayo, shout out Westport, gets called down. She comes into the drunk room. There's like 2 members from the St. John of God's or whoever the ambulance... John
of God's, yeah.
John of God's ambulance team. There's a Garda and then there's the head of Wesley and they're all standing around this girl, absolutely legless drunk. She sits there and the mum just goes, "Oh my God, Aoife lovey, what have you eaten?"
Of course she did.
Genuinely. 4 naggins of powers, Mary. Let's go.
So I was in Colossian and it was a 3-week course or whatever. It was the first Kaylee in the first week. I think we'd won a week.
Yeah.
And it was one of these things where it was kind of set up. And this lad called Brian, who had like dark brown, black hair and undercut, was wearing a Nirvana t-shirt, baggy jeans. He had do you remember those like chains that smelly rockers used to wear in the bands around the wrist and all this? And he asked me to slow dance, and we had a slow dance. And then we began shifting, and it was just so wet. And like when I watch Love Island now and the camera zooms in on a couple snorking and making that noise, that's what I imagine it was like. And there we were snogging on the dance floor, and then the Kaylee ended, the big voice over the tannoy, and we were all told we had to get back in the coaches to go back to the Bannon tea. And before I did, I went into the bathroom and I literally balanced I had to compose myself by holding the basin, looking in the mirror, because I was shaking so much because I was so giddy that I just had my first shift. I think Brian and I were a couple for 3 days before I moved on. Definitely a memorable one for me.
Brilliant. Couple for 3 days. That's almost as long as Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Bit of a wrestling gag there for the wrestling fans.
Nice and niche, yeah.
Yeah. This is all fairly nice, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just a nice guy who has a penchant for heavy metal. Fair play to him.
Also a long relationship for Gaeltacht.
Absolutely.
3 days, yeah.
3 days is long for the Gaeltacht. I see no issue with any of this.
No.
So...
Not all rockers are smelly either. Let's just call that out.
No. Let's be honest though. The 2 litre cans of Monster, the grubby little... Rockers were always the type to eat full packets of biscuits.
Yeah.
You know, I was a rocker, by the way. I never left the house with a satchel of BNBNs. Do you know what I mean? Oniva.
Well, Mark, it was summer first year, so it was 1999. Back then, we didn't have mobile phones. So Mam dropped us into town, myself and my best friend. She was meeting the lad that she was shifting, and we were to meet Mam again at 8 o'clock. Up until this now, I was a good girl, like, so, you know, Mam knew I'd be there. Anyway, this book turned up with his cousin, and sure, we agreed that I'd shift the cousin. Pure nervous I was, like, sure, I'd never shifted anyone in my life. So we went off strolling anyway, and we got to this kind of abandoned house. Now we decided, in order to get the shift done, that I'd have to stand up on a block, because I was so small and he was so tall. So we arranged the block. Stood there for a good few hours looking at each other. Neither of us making the move. So eventually I got the courage and I stood up on this block and threw the arms around his neck and we went for it. I'd say now it was some clashing of teeth and tongues, you know yourself.
Tongues?
A couple of seconds later, these 2 guards landed into the house. My mother had reported me missing because it wasn't where I was supposed to be at 8 o'clock. After a few questions and they realised everything was okay, they marched me back down the town, into the squad car and brought me home. Absolutely mortified. Needless to say now, this poor lad was not a return customer, never seen him again. But yeah, that was a first shift that I will never forget.
Can I just at this point point out the language that's been used is we agreed, discussed, decided. It is all kind of transactional business HR speak. Should we have a shift?
Exactly.
Yes. No returning customers.
Now that's a timely intervention from Connor. I love to hear it. And you're dead bloody right. I also thought, she goes, this book arrives up.
Yeah.
Some sort of mobile library. Is that what we're... The term book.
It's B-U-C-K.
No, I know now. But like, what part of the country is that from? Is that Limericky area? Book?
Mayo.
I would have thought about
okay.
West, yeah.
Out west.
Young
Bucks.
Buck. Yeah.
Okay, well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, none of this for me. I mean, the mother is, let's just say she's the direct opposite of Kate and Jerry McCann. Do you know what I mean? I've noticed my daughter's missing. Probably call the services. Meanwhile, Kate and Jerry are like, daughter's missing. We should call Bingo Bango Bongo, the PR agency for young professionals in Hammersmiths. Do you know what I mean? Hello, Chloe here from Bingo Bango Bongo. Don't know what that is. Welcome back to Broken Whistler. Completely looned by the mum. There was always a mother that was just too much.
Always.
Just too much. And I understand that there's a difference between an overbearing mother and a distant dad. I'm not saying one's better than the others, but there were some mums that were just too much.
Yeah.
Do you think that if a mother was too overbearing on the kids, that the kids would always either go one of two ways? They'd either be like really diligent, hardworking and studious, or they would be me. Do you know what I mean? Or they'd be just like complete loons, like they'd rebel.
Yeah, absolute rogues, yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. I mean, calling the guards, it's excessive. It is completely excessive. Let's go. We've got a few more to get through.
This actually isn't about my first shift, but it happened, maybe a year or two after my first shift. So I ended up going to a disco with my friend, and it was in Cork City. It was out in Ovens, and their discos were apparently meant to be legendary. So I was going out with her anyways, and we were dancing away, whatever, and then this fella that she knew from school came up, and obviously he asked her, could he shift me? And I took one look at him and I said no. Like, no offence, but I wasn't interested. But it obviously at that age where if you said no, it meant you were frigid. It wasn't that you weren't actually interested. So eventually I was like peer pressured into shifting him. And before I knew it, when I started shifting him, I don't know how this happened, but my mouth ended up in his mouth.
Good stuff.
So he had sucked my mouth into his mouth, and I distinctly, still to this day, I remember that his teeth were circumventing my lips, if that makes any sense, and he was still going around. He was still like, like the washing machine tongue. I don't even know how he did that, because I mean, if your face is fully sucked into someone else's, I don't even know how he found my tongue. But anyway, that went on for a few seconds, and I actually got a bit scared because I didn't know how to, get out of this or anything, because a vacuum had been created. But eventually I ended up pulling away, and even though it was like disco music and everything like that, you could hear and feel the vibrations. It was a big flatulent noise. And then I found out then on Monday when my friend was talking to him that he called me a frigid, and I only did it because I didn't want to return to being a frigid because I hadn't shifted someone in over a year.
The injustice. The injustice of being referred to a frigid after Henry the Hoover's, completely sucked your mouth up his mouth. Mouth to mouth, literally mouth to mouth resuscitation of some sort. That is completely... Do you think you'd be able to do mouth to mouth?
You don't do mouth to mouth anymore.
Sorry?
No, it's just chest compressions now, baby. No, mouth to mouth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, then what were you doing? Last Thursday night, Cafe on Seine.
I'm trained, I swear.
Yeah. Our son, I'm a professional. He was a 54-year-old accountant. So you don't do mouth to mouth?
No.
Public health warning.
There you go, yeah.
So what do you mean? So if someone, swimming pool?
Chest compressions.
So you're sitting beside a swimming pool, your fingers are literally orange because you've been grazing out of an oversized family bag of Cheetos for the morning. You've had as much fun. No, this isn't you, by the way. This isn't you. No.
He loves his Cheetos.
No, I just mean one.
Okay.
One. Sorry, do you know what I was thinking the other day? When you're on holidays and you've spent the day by the pool and you've had, like the Cheetos, the foreign Fanta, and it hits different and all that shit, right? When you go up to the room after your day by the pool or the beach and you're like, you have your shower and then you put on clean clothes and you've got that like warm, crispy, golden hour, fresh feeling.
Yeah.
And then you walk down by the pool, okay, to go and go out for dinner. And the sun's sort of coming down and there's still a couple of kids jumping in and out of the pool. Why is it that, like, in that moment you're like, you dirty feral bastards. You disgusting street rats. Only an hour beforehand you were doing the same, but because the sun has gone down, these kids, you're like, you lawless little pups. Is that just me? Okay, Grant. Second, good stuff. Fucking went down like a cannonball in the family pool in the.
Who are pricks? Children having fun.
Right. I see what's happening here. There's a mutiny on our hands.
Mark.
This is what.
No.
Do you know the other thing? The other theory that I have.
Go on.
You know, whenever you're ignoring somebody on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Why is it that whenever they send you a photo, you can't but fucking resist and open the chat? That's if someone's ignoring you, you want to get their attention, send them an image. No human being can withstand or exercise the restraint required to not click in. When it sends you a photo, and particularly if it looks like a screenshot of someone else's message, you're going to click in always.
I'm with you on that one.
Okay, let's just play one more, then I'm going home. This is just, let's go.
So my first kiss was, like many people in Dublin, was at the Wes disco. Now, I don't come from an area where you get to go to the Wes. So I had managed to get an ID of someone who went to like a school near there or something. I don't know. I was given an ID. I still remember the name that was on it, but I'm not saying it. I remember going to it thinking, I need to get my first kiss, because I was like 15. And I was like the only frigid in the gang. So I went and I was like the first person that says, will you meet me? I'm going to do it. So lo and behold, eventually, someone did. You know, we kissed. Whatever. It was ridiculous. I actually don't remember much of it, but the only thing I remember was that Girls Aloud Sound of the Underground was playing. And now whenever I hear that song, I'm like transported back to my first kiss at the Wes. And as far as I remember, I think I kissed a couple of boys that night. Just, you know, to get the hang of it. I love the pod.
Water's running in the wrong direction.
No, that's not.
That is, yeah. It's a mixed up sound. Something. No.
It's boys and they got cypher. Is that on it?
Sound of the underground.
The sound. This is the sound of the underground. Is that on it?
Yeah. I think we're all doing the same thing.
And the beat goes feeling the.
Girls are later Saturdays. Here we go, lads. Open a can of Tetley's and let's put a face up and we'll write the women of Britain. Okay, I want it, and we'll use word like Norks.
She get it.
Do you remember when lads podcast? Do you remember when Kelly Brook got a Norks out for Zoo magazine? I still would, man. Hey up, kids. Carol Voldemort. Do you know what I mean? Just meat-headed pig boys. Hey, hold on a second here, lads. Kirsty Gallagher from Kirsty's Own Videos. Can't forget about her. And those little... Do you know what I mean?
The worst. The absolute worst.
Shocking.
Can I do another dictionary corner since we've had the word mentioned multiples of times throughout the pod?
Yeah.
But the word frigid originates from the Latin word frigidus, meaning cold, chill or cool. This in turn comes from the Latin verb frigere, which means to be cold. The Latin term was adopted into Middle French as frigide before entering the English language in the late 16th century. So there we are.
Ooh, interesting. So
we're going back to the 16th
That's
century.
mental. So
somebody is frigid.
Wow. So it actually it took a phone for you to realise fridge. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh fuck, we're over. It's over.
No wonder there's 15 producers on this fucking.
Oh God. This is why I'm not concerned about AI, by the way. People go, no, AI. It's like, yeah, but AI was able to ascertain that fridge derives from the Latin word frigid. Anyway. Thank you so much for listening to the Weekly Roast, guys. It is always a pleasure. It is my favourite time of the week. The lift that it gives me from my soul to my feet, brilliant, is huge. So thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy the show, you know what to do. Share it with a friend. Share this episode with a friend. Send me a message on Instagram at Megan Mark. We're also exploring a little idea here, which we haven't put pen to paper on yet, but we had this idea of doing like a roast trip or road. We basically were thinking, could you imagine if we got a massive bus for the weekly roast and then showed up in your sort of town or village? Would you be interested? And we could get, I don't know. We're trying to figure out this idea, but it could work. Anyway, thank you for listening. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing all right and enjoying the summer thus far. That's all I have for you. I'm going away on Thursday, as is Mystery Mick, as is Connor Halpin. So we're trying to figure out how to record the show when we're on the road, but we will, because you deserve to hear it. And that's all I have for you. We will see you very soon. All the best. Take care. Bye.
Mark Megan's Weekly Roast. Proudly supported by Cialis for Men. Erectile dysfunction? It's nothing to be ashamed of. Have a quick, discreet chat with your pharmacist about Cialis for Men. 10mg film-coated tablets, which contains tadalafil. Now available without prescription in pharmacies nationwide. Find out more at www.cialisformen.ie. To be taken at least 30 minutes prior to anticipated sexual activity. Always read the label.